I don't have to answer your question yes or no because you're setting up a trap so you can have a media narrative.
I'm not setting up a trap.
And I'm not giving it to you.
Unless it's true that you fired people.
People have been terminated at the FBI who failed to uphold the standards that the FBI requires them to uphold.
Did you tell anyone at the FBI that all FBI employees who they identified who had worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs? Did you tell that to someone at the FBI? The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No. I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of inmates.
Not in the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of California. We are bringing historic reform. Point of order. But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat.
This is the most explosive hearing clip in this entire series, and it needs context to understand what actually happened and why it matters beyond the spectacle. The senator questioning Patel here is working through three separate issues simultaneously. First, whether Patel's flat denial of political retribution holds up against the specific language of his own confirmation oath. Second, whether the Epstein files, which Patel claimed under oath contain no credible leads on co-conspirators, actually reflect what Ghislaine Maxwell told the FBI when Blanche interviewed her. Third, whether Maxwell's transfer to a more comfortable prison immediately after that interview was a coincidence or a consequence. Each of those threads is serious on its own. Together, they represent a direct challenge to the credibility of the FBI director, not from political opponents, but from his own words, his own testimony, and a transcript the DOJ itself released. As a journalist covering federal accountability for 7 years, when a government official responds to documented contradictions by calling a senator a fraud and a coward, that is not a defense. That is what happens when the questions land. Let's go through it.
Mr. Patel, during your confirmation hearing, you made several important commitments. For instance, you told Senator Coons there will be no politicization at the FBI. There'll be no retributive actions taken by any FBI should I be confirmed as FBI director. So let me ask you very specifically, did you ever take any action to terminate or discipline an FBI agent or employee in whole or in part as retribution for being part of an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
No.
You also committed, you assured Senator Blumenthal, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. So you're testifying today that you played no role in the firing of even a single FBI agent for political retribution.
None for political retribution.
And if any FBI agent said you did, they would be lying. Is that your testimony?
I'm only speaking to my actions. Everybody is allowed to make their allegations.
Oh, no, these are allegations against you.
And
so, Mr. Patel, if FBI, senior FBI agents or employees said that you were firing them for political retribution reasons because of the cases they were assigned, you're saying they would be lying. Is that
anyone that was terminated at the FBI was done so for failing to meet the standards, uphold their constitutional oath, and effectuate the mission.
Well, by meet the standards, are you talking about meet the standards of protecting the president under any circumstance?
No.
You also guaranteed Senator Blumenthal that every FBI employee will be held to the absolute same standard. No one will be terminated for case assignments.
The senator opens with Patel's own sworn words, the same commitments that have now appeared in multiple hearings. No politicization, no retributive actions, every employee held to the same standard. No terminations for case assignments. He asked 3 sequential yes or no questions. Did you terminate anyone in whole or in part as retribution for investigating Trump? No. Did you play any role in firing even a single agent for political retribution? None for political retribution. If FBI agents said you did, would they be lying? Patel's answer to the last question is to tell. I'm only speaking to my actions. Everyone is allowed to make their allegations. That answer is not a denial. It's a refusal to call the accusers liars, which is exactly what an innocent person would do if the accusers were lying. The senator catches it immediately and presses. Patel pivots to the standard formulation. Anyone terminated failed to uphold their oath. The question of what standard was actually applied remains unanswered.
Are you testifying today that you never terminated anyone at the FBI, in whole or in part, because of a prior case assignment?
No one at the FBI is terminated for case assignments alone.
Well, I'm asking about you, Mr. Patel. Did you, in whole or in part, terminate anyone at the FBI because they worked on the Trump investigation or because they worked on January 6th?
No one at the FBI has been terminated for case assignments alone.
Okay, you're saying alone. Does that mean they were terminated in part because they were assigned to a January 6th case or assigned to the Mar-a-Lago case? You're being very precise here, Mr. Patel. You're saying alone. That means they were fired in part because they were assigned those cases. Is that your testimony?
Absolutely not. But if you want to keep
Okay,
putting words
well,
in my mouth,
then
go
let me
ahead.
ask you, let's strip away the word alone. Did you terminate or participate in any discipline of any FBI employee in whole or in part because of their work on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th? Yes or no?
Any terminations at the FBI by employees.
No, I'm
since
asking you a very specific
And I'm
question.
going to answer the question, but you don't like the answer because it's the
No,
truth and it
I
guts
want
your
an answer to my
narrative.
question. I don't want an answer to someone else's question. So let me just be precise, and I ask for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
FBI
Yes or no?
employees are only terminated
Yes
if
or
they
no,
fail
Mr.
to
Patel?
uphold their oaths of
Yes or
office
no?
and duty.
You're not
at
answering
the
my
FBI
question.
I
You're
don't
not
have to
answering my
answer your question yes or no because you're setting up a trap so you can have a
Oh,
media
no, I'm
narrative.
not setting up a trap.
And I'm not giving it to you.
Unless it's true that you fired people.
People
in
have
whole
been
or in part
terminated at
because
the
they-
FBI who failed to uphold
they were
the
assigned
standards
to.
that the FBI requires them
Did you
to
tell?
uphold.
Did you?
The senator now zeroes in on the specific language Patel keeps using. No one terminated for case assignments alone. He asks, does that word alone mean they were terminated in part because of their case assignments? Patel says, absolutely not. The senator strips the word away entirely. Did you terminate anyone in whole or in part because they worked on a Trump investigation or January 6th? Patel's response is the most revealing moment of the entire exchange. I don't have to answer yes or no because you're setting up a trap. The senator's response is surgical. Unless it's true, it's not a trap. It's just a question. And on the congressional record, the FBI director has just told Congress he won't answer a direct accountability question about his own conduct because answering it might incriminate him. He's then asked the most specific version of the question. Did you ever tell anyone at the FBI that employees identified as having worked on cases against Trump since the South Korean Congress could demonstrate the process of trying to investigate? The senator asks, so anyone who says you did would be lying? Patel says, anyone can say whatever they want. He will not use the word liar. Because the people making that allegation are Brian Driscoll and named plaintiffs in an active federal lawsuit, and calling them liars under oath carries consequences.
All FBI employees who they identified who had worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs. Did you tell that to someone at the FBI?
Say that I would remove people for case assignments?
That people that were identified as having worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs. Did you tell that to someone at the FBI?
People are not removed
But
for
just
case
answer my
assignments.
question. Just answer my question. Did you tell that to someone?
People are not removed for case
No,
assignments.
you're not answering my question.
And I would
Mr.
never
Patel,
tell anyone.
Did you tell someone at the FBI that FBI employees identified as having worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs? Yes or no, did you tell someone that?
I would never tell anyone at the FBI that they're being removed for basically their case assignments.
Okay, so anyone who said that would be lying. Is that your testimony?
Anyone can say whatever they want.
No, I know, but you're saying they were a liar.
I'm telling you what I said.
Because this is in the complaint against you, Mr. Patel. So you're saying Mr. Driscoll and others are liars?
I'm not going to address the complaint and the ongoing
Okay, well then let me ask
litigation.
you, have you ever told anyone at the FBI that the FBI tried to put the president in jail and he hasn't forgotten it, and that your job depended on the removal of agents who worked on cases against the president?
No.
Did you ever tell anyone that?
No.
Did you ever tell anyone that you knew these summary firings you were undertaking were illegal, likely illegal, and that you would be sued and later deposed? Did you ever tell anyone that?
No firings at the FBI or terminations were done for anything other than justified
Did you ever
cause.
tell anyone that, Mr.
No,
Patel? Why don't you
no
answer my question?
terminations at the FBI were ever done in my tenure for anything other than failing
Did you ever
to
tell
uphold
anyone
their
that,
oath of
Mr.
the
Patel? You willing to
office
answer
or
the
their-
question?
The FBI.
I guess
I
you're
have
not willing to
answered
answer the
it.
question.
The senator moves to two specific statements allegedly made by Patel, one even more damaging than the case assignment question. Did he ever tell anyone at the FBI that the Bureau tried to put the president in jail and he hadn't forgotten it, and that Patel's own job depended on removing agents who worked those cases? No. Did he ever tell anyone he knew the firings were likely illegal and that he would be sued and later deposed? No. Patel's answer to both is a flat denial. But notice the structure. He doesn't say these allegations are fabricated. He doesn't say that people making them are liars. He says his terminations were justified. He pivots to the standard. He never engages the specific alleged statements. In a court of law, that pattern of response, denying the general principle while avoiding the specific allegation, is what witnesses do when the specific allegation is documented and denial would constitute perjury. Whether that's what's happening here is a question the litigation will eventually answer. What's already on record is that Patel won't say it didn't happen in those specific words.
So let me move on. Let me move on to the Epstein files. You said you're the most transparent FBI director in history, so I'm going to put you to the test. In 2024, you were asked by Glenn Beck about Epstein's Black Book. And you said, he asked, who has Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book? And you said, Black Book, FBI. And he said, but who? That is, I mean theirs. And you said, oh, that's under the direct control of the director of the FBI. That's what you said. Was that true, Mr. Patel?
I'll rely on you quoting it accurately. I did that a couple
Was
of
it
years
true
ago.
what you represented to Mr. Beck and the president's supporters out there, or were you lying? Was it true that the Black Book, Epstein's Black Book, was in the possession of the FBI director?
The Black Book was in the possession of the FBI.
Okay, so now that you're the FBI director, you have possession of the Black Book, right?
That index has been released.
So you have Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book?
What is known as Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book has been released by us.
And you released it. And let me follow up on Senator Kennedy's question, because he asked you, and I'll be very precise here, you've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself? And you said, himself, there's no credible information, none. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And Kennedy, the information we have, again, is limited. And Senator Kennedy said, the answer is no one. And you said, for the information we have. So is it your testimony today that in all of the Epstein files, that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked no one to anyone but himself? Is that your testimony, Mr.
I never
Patel?
said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic anyone else.
Did he traffic any young woman to someone other than himself? That was Mr. Kennedy's question,
And I
Senator Kennedy's
said
question.
the information that 3 administrations have had access to
I'm
have
asking
made
you-
determinations that there are no investigative leads that were credible to prosecute and investigate any others. I'm specifically
I'm asking
stating
you whether
we
it's
were
your
working on.
testimony today.
Well, you just read
that
it, and I said it 10 minutes ago, so let the record reflect my
I
testimony.
just want to make sure there's no misunderstanding, because there are victims like Virginia Guifer who have testified otherwise, who have said otherwise, and you're telling the American people today that the Epstein list is a single name and it's Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we're to believe?
That's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying, and you can say whatever you want.
Let me ask you this. When Todd Blanche went to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, she said, but did I think these guys were coming for that? I really don't. If you met Epstein, there's no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, and some are in your cabinet, who you value as your co-workers and you know would be with him if he was a creep or because they wanted sexual favors. A man wants sexual favors, he will find that. They didn't have to come to Epstein for that. And the next question Todd Blanche, the president's former criminal defense lawyer, asked is not who in the cabinet, who are you referring to? His question is, so when's the last time you think you were with Mr. Epstein when he got a massage? So let me ask you, who are those cabinet members that Ghislaine Maxwell was referring to that, that were part of this cast of characters associated with Mr. Epstein? Who are they?
The Deputy Attorney General took the aggressive step that no one else did and interviewed Ms. Maxwell for
I'm
2
asking you,
days,
who are
and we released the entirety
members?
of that
Who are the cabinet
transcript.
members?
I do not have that transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American public can read the entirety of that.
The senator pivots to Epstein, and this section is the one that will have the longest institutional life. In 2024, before becoming director, Patel told Glenn Beck that Epstein's Black Book was under the direct control of the FBI director. He's now the FBI director. The senator asks, "Do you have it?" Patel confirms what's known as the Black Book has been released. Then comes the testimony that reframes the entire Epstein file narrative. Earlier in the hearing, Patel testified that the FBI has no credible investigative leads to prosecute anyone other than Epstein himself. The senator goes to the Maxwell interview transcript, released by the DOJ itself, and reads what Maxwell actually told Blanche. Maxwell said, "Some are in your cabinet," referring to Trump's cabinet, who you value as co-workers and who you know would be with Epstein. The senator notes that Blanche's follow-up question after that revelation was not, "Who in the cabinet?" His next question was about when Maxwell last saw Epstein get a massage. The senator asks Patel directly, "Who are those cabinet members Maxwell is referring to?" Patel says he doesn't have the transcript in front of him. The senator points out he's picking piecemeal. The American public can read the whole transcript, but the question hangs in the air. Maxwell named Trump cabinet members as part of Epstein's circle. Blanche didn't follow up on the names. And Patel is testifying that the FBI has no credible leads on co-conspirators. Those 3 facts exist simultaneously in the public record.
Right after she gives this testimony, in front of an FBI agent among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No. I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of
you're
inmates.
not in the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of the California. We are bringing historic reform. Point of order. But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
The final exchange is the one that will define this hearing in public memory. But the question that triggers it is the most important one asked all day. Right after Maxwell gave her interview testimony, naming cabinet members, making explosive claims about Epstein's network, she was transferred to a minimum security prison not classified as appropriate for a sex offender. The senator asks, who made that decision and why? Patel says, the Bureau of Prisons, on their own, with no consultation from Blanche or anyone else, completely unrelated to the interview. The senator's response, you want the American people to believe that a transfer to a more comfortable facility for a convicted sex offender, immediately after she gave testimony naming cabinet members, was a coincidence decided independently by the Bureau of Prisons? Do you think they're stupid? That's when Patel breaks. He abandons the institutional voice entirely. He calls the senator the biggest fraud ever to sit in the Senate, a disgrace to the institution, a coward, a political buffoon. He accuses him of lying about Russiagate in January 6th. He says the senator only cares about a child sex predator that prior administrations refused to prosecute, and that Trump was the one who brought new charges. The chairman tells everyone to be quiet. My read as a journalist, Patel's explosion is the clearest signal of the entire hearing about where the pressure actually landed. He survived the case assignment questions with deflections. He survived the oath comparison with pivots. He survived the Epstein file questions with procedural answers. But when the senator connected Maxwell's testimony, cabinet members Blanche's follow-up failure, and the prison transfer in one sequence, Patel stopped responding as an FBI director and started responding as someone protecting something. What that something is now the question. And it is in the congressional record, alongside his answer, for as long as that record exists.